Excellent. Okay, everyone. Dax here again from Hero Property. Fantastic to have Claudio Medell on. Hi, man. Hey, good stuff. Now, Claudio runs an international jewelry business that's been running for over 15 years, and he's pivoted over this sort of time. So, and I really love having you on the show because, you know, some of the things you talk about in terms of conscious living and how you combine that with the business, I really wanted to come get you on board. So thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I'm going to just turn this down because hopefully everyone can hear. If you have any issues, give me a shout and tell me if you can't see anything or hear anything. So Claudio, 15 years in jewelry.
Long time, my friend.
What made you live in jewelry for so long?
Well, it was passion. You know, me and my wife, we're both the founders, and we just love jewelry. You know, my wife's a gem nut. Gemstones. You know, we've been hunting down, sourcing the most beautiful gems from all over the world, and the hand craftsmanship. You know, that's what we're into. That's what we're about.
Beautiful. And you know, I know that you've got a range. You go on to cruise ships. You got high-end stuff. You go to local markets as well. You've got that range as well.
We do a bit of it. Yeah, it's very different markets. The cruise ships are obviously 5-star. We cater for the ladies who are into the gold, diamonds, and the precious gems. And here at the trade shows around Australia, and we have markets as well. We cater for, you know, sterling silver, and we have beautiful. You know, we keep the quality gem in just the different metals.
Now, I got you on for a really specific reason. I know you're very soulful, very spiritual and stuff like that. So, and I know COVID, you know, cruise ships, as we all know, down in the water, game over. But you've decided to pivot and build in your beautiful background and history of spirituality.
Well, it's been happening for a while, right? Like it's this pivot. You know, everyone says, you know, overnight success, right? Well, it happened for us quite a few years back. You know, like you said before, we've been selling for over 15 years, our jewelry. But so when my kids were born, I got 3 little rascal rabbits now, but when the first one was born about 7 years ago, I started going out on the cruise ships by myself. Right before that, it was like amazing. Me and Natalie would be out together, seeing the world. But once we had the babies, she'd be at home, I'd be out on a ship. I was getting lonely. I'd be like missing my kids, and my wife, Love, you know, it was like hurting my heart going out there. And so what I decided to do was to start writing about love, you know, and so that was how I channeled it. And you know, 5 years on and off, I ended up with this book that I became my passion. And, you know, I've been meditating since I was a kid, like in my 20s, I started meditating. But this was the first time that I actually put effort into writing my own work.
So that's I mean, your book, I've read a couple of chapters and I'm loving it.
Thank
you. Got some really good stories about your past.
Yes, it's
and
my
bringing in the theory and stuff like that. And you started going down the path of a master's degree, weren't you?
Yes. So I was doing the master's. This is maybe 2-3 years ago now.
Masters of what?
Transpersonal psychology.
Yeah,
so
wow.
it was amazing. And it's the bridge, right? It's the bridge between science and spirituality, and bringing that bridge to the people. And so it was very heady, very scientific. And that part of it, even though like I love reading science manuals on spirituality and, you know, quantum physics, and I love getting into that, but when it got into actually doing the work, it was making my brain just like explode.
As in going through the masters.
Yes. It was intense.
But living it, you're fine.
Oh, the living part of it is what I've done my whole life.
Yeah.
Right? But
so that changed. So you said, okay, the masters.
There was a moment where I came home and I'm talking to Natty, my wife, and we're talking about the book, and we're talking about the masters, and we're talking about our jewelry. And I'm saying to her, if only we could bring all these passions in together. And that's the topic became, you know, it started with a thought, like everything. And
you put your energy into that thought.
And then it was funny, it was like a memory came up. From when I was in my mid-20s, I went to India, and I was that typical hippie on a spiritual pilgrimage, right? I had a long beard, I had dreadlocks. I got the photos. And so I was there for about a year, and I was, meditating and back bending, and I went and saw the Dalai Lama. He lives over in McLeod Ganj in Dharamsala. And, back then anyway, it was a lot easier to see him. And anyway, so when I saw him, he gave me this little red string, right? And I hadn't thought about this at all. And it was funny how just the memory just like came up. He gave me this little red string and he said, put it on with intention. Think about what it is that you want in life, and then put it on and, tie the knot with the intention, and then never take it off. So this is 1,000-year-old Buddhist philosophies, right?
Yep.
And so you keep it on until it falls off. That's the trick, right? And I'm like, okay, thanks, cool. And I went on my ways and kept, I was still backpacking for the rest of the time in India. But the funniest thing happened with this little red string, right? It kind of started talking to me because what happens is it's like a reminder. It's a daily reminder of bringing your subconscious, which right?
Yeah.
the subconscious, which is it's wild and going all over the place, and trying to bring it to be conscious, right? To have that focused intent, you need reminders, daily reminders, and this is what the Buddhists do with the red string. Because every day I wrapped it around my ankle. And every day I'd be doing something, my mind would be off somewhere, not focused at all. And then all of a sudden I'd see that little red string and bang, conscious, right? It would bring it back, it back. So it was an amazing reminder. So anyway, I remember this thought, and I remember the teaching that I got throughout that 6-7 months while the string unfrayed on me. That, wow, what a conscious way of having a personal reminder that's close to your body, that's every day, right? So I'm talking to this with Nat, and Nat's like, oh my God, we can do this without jewelry, right? And
so transform the
little red string into a fine piece of beautiful statement jewelry, right?
Wow.
So because it's the same concept.
Yeah.
You can put it on with intention, and you have the same thing going on. The point is to have the intention behind the wearing.
As you put
the little red string does nothing, right? Same, it's the intention behind it.
Yeah.
So that's Evoker.
That's
that was
amazing.
the beginning place of Evoker.
So that's, you want a little red string that's jewelry. This is a perfect sort of space. And, you've evolved this. Evoker's evolved over time, and I've seen this happen with you. And you've even gone that one step further. Certain gems have certain qualities that relate to certain intentions, you're saying. So what does that mean? Can you
yes. So meditation can go into infinite realm, right? And the problem that most meditators have, Kookaburra saying hello.
Kookaburra medicine.
Yeah.
How beautiful, huh?
Yeah, we love the birds all around.
He's in the camera, you can see him up there.
They have their shenanigans daily.
Magic. Yeah, so sorry, go.
Yeah.
Energy, the intention is in some gem.
So meditation is infinite, and the scope of meditation can take you everywhere. And what we found was so the Hindus, they've created this amazing energy centers, right? The chakras. And this philosophy grounded down all of my meditations because it gave me a step-by-step process to infinity, right? And that is what we all need, because we all need to balance each center up. And so each center, as we go through them, right? So it starts at red, so that's your first center, and it goes to pinky oranges, then it goes to yellow, so power. So pinky orange is passion. So red is survival, right? Becoming fearless over the external world. Passion is pinky oranges. Yellow, which is willpower. So the power to balance.
It's your gut feeling, isn't it?
Yes, to balance the lower two into harmony. So play hard, work hard, right? Otherwise you get into addictions, or you get into too misery, work harder place, right? So you got to balance. And then once you start finding that your balance, or your willpower is enacting the balance, then you get into the heart chakra, so the green. And the heart starts to open up, because you start to see that my life is in balance. My friendships and my relationships are in balance and harmonious. And so you start to love self. And so that's how the heart starts to open up. Then we go up to the throat chakra. So expression, light blues in the throat, right? Yeah. So expression in all its ways, you know, so through voice, through the written word, through painting, through sculpture, through your medium of work, right? Which is what we're doing.
So I should have worn light blue. You should have given me some light blue jewelry.
Yes,
Like the aquamarine.
Yes.
Yes, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah,
and then
the aquas are stunning.
What's up from here?
So from here we've got the third eye.
Yes,
so the third eye, so the dark blues. The third eye is very shamanic. It's all about intuition. And from here up, you start opening into the ether and into the infinite realms, right? So the third eye is all about what you perceive to see, right? And so it's all about perception, intuition, and that's really
dropping the veil of the illusion.
Yes, because that's what it's all about.
The third eye seeing through it. Okay.
And so then the crown chakra, so the top of the head is the purple. And so the crown chakra is all about being in the moment, right? And so it's all the training to be in the moment, right? To drop past, forget about the future, be in the moment like a child. You know, when I see my children, I see present moment awareness, you know, they're jumping in muddy puddles and they're just with that muddy puddle. Right, you know, they're not thinking about what am I doing tomorrow? They're just in the muddy puddle, you know. And so being a childlike consciousness is it's a great teacher. Children are a great teacher. So yeah, and so then the eighth center. So what we've done anyway at Evoca, what we've done, there are, when you go into the chakras, there's lots of others, right? And you know, beyond the body chakras, so ethereal chakras, and it gets very messy.
So you've stayed in the physical body.
What we've done is we've given one. So there's a black one, which is the grounded one, which is ethereal. It's out of the body, but it's close to the earth. It's dark browns and black. Okay. And so that's a very grounding
like
chakra.
Onyxes and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Onyxes are beautiful for that.
Yeah. We've used
and then the ones on the top are the crystalline colors, so very whites, very shimmery. Right,
like
so opalescence, yes, selenite, amazing.
Big one,
yes, any white, clear stones. I haven't really gotten into the stones of this yet, but that's what we're doing with our eighth chakra. We're doing black and white because that is what the yin and yang is of this world, and so we're using one chakra to talk about the extent of all the other chakras.
Beautiful. So you've got these energy centers. They've got colors associated with them. How did you associate then those colors with the right stones to create? You create sets.
And so this is, before we get into the sets, let's just talk about color, right? Because color is actually what it's about. The Hindus back 2,000 years ago, they knew that the rainbow had a spectrum of color, and they put that spectrum of color into the energy centers through meditation. Because in your meditation, when you go deep in your meditation, you actually see the colors, right? You can see the colors coming out in the different energy centers, and so that's why they gave those energy centers the specific colors.
Good.
Everything is energy, right? Energy is frequency. Frequency has a color. Yeah. And to a human,
and a vibration.
Color, yes, everything's and to a human, that wavelength, that vibration, that color is an emotional state.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
He loves it. He's got the vibration.
And so that emotional state is what can empower, right? So when we're talking about red, for example, and that's the color of being fearless, right? If you have that intention with that color, now you can really ground in being fearless, right? It's very, and same like what we were talking about with the light blues, you know, using that color range for expression, very different to red, extremely different, right? The light blue feeling and emotion that you get with expressiveness in that realm, right? So, you know, you love Dr. Joe Dispenza, right?
Yeah.
He's our man. I love him too. You know, one of the quotes that he talks about is saying that the energy centers, they're all different minds. They all have their own energetic frequency, and it's like a mind in and of itself. And that's actually the work. The work is about balancing each, so that because they all are a part of us, the eight are a part of us. And so it's a balancing act of all of them into alignment.
Nice.
So yeah, so how do we put it into the jewelry and into the stones?
Yeah.
So stones, you know, and this is my wife. She's
the gemologist.
She loves gemstones.
And we're I don't know, I haven't really said anything about this beautiful location, but this is where they live and they've got gem books everywhere.
Yeah.
I've been getting into
And
this
big stones.
there, amethyst caves, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So thank you for
Avalon,
having us here.
man, this is
Beautiful.
This is God's
Yeah.
country.
Yeah, so tell us-
stones. Okay, so when you think about a gemstone, you know, people, it's funny, right? Because the digital world, we just see everything. We see color and big lights really quick and easy. When you think of a stone
It's from
that the earth created,
yeah.
right?
Under
And
pressure.
these stones, yes, millions of years in pressure, right? At an energetic frequency. And that frequency becomes red.
Okay.
Right? These stones, when you think of it that way,
Aquamarine
becomes light blue under millions of years of pressure. So these stones, when you think of color, if there is something on this planet that owns that vibration, it's the gemstones.
Nice,
this is
I like
why
it.
so many people are healers with gemstones, right? So, and you know, but the thing with that, and we don't get really into that side of it because it can get very woohoo, right? But we love it and we know that it works. But you know, the whole point is if you enact in the meditation, if you enact in your intention, if you wear the stone with intention, now you're talking. Now you're getting somewhere with it. But if you just think you can wear a stone and go, oh yeah, this has got the energy, it doesn't work. That becomes more like a placebo.
So it's the red string effect, what you were talking about.
Yes, it's the intention behind it.
So next time I'm on this show, Claudia's going to give me some blue light, light blue jewelry,
Yes,
of course.
some beautiful ones,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
And I'll put the intention on making an amazing interview session, and that will just lift it up.
Beautiful.
Increase that
Yes.
vibration.
Yeah, and the more you work with it, like, you know, when you think of talisman style jewelry, right? This has been done for thousands of years. You know, when you think of a sacred space, okay, like, you know, you go to a temple and you feel it. It's like it's an energetic feeling. You're like, wow, this feels very sacred. It's something, you know, you walk into a woman's home and there's a peace and a serenity in that home. And then there are other homes that are totally the opposite, right? And it's a feeling, it's a sensation that you have. That is an energetic vibration that all of us resonate with, and we all know what it is. It's like we can't really talk about it because it's a little bit etherical, but your intuition knows it when you feel it, right? And this, you know, like when you think of, like, the best ones for me is like a house of worship, right? When you think of bricks, how does a set of bricks and windows and doors become a sacred, revered home of spirituality, right? It's the years of dedication, the years of intention placed by the men and women living in these spaces that create that temple-like effect.
Yes.
And so that's the same with sacred objects.
With the objects.
Anything that's sacred, the more
gems.
time, so if I give you this blue stone, the more time that you spend with it, the more intention that you place on it, the more it's going to get activated. That's how you activate your jewelry. It's not, you don't activate it like, oh, I'm going to wear it and that's it. No, you got to, it's the intention behind it. And I forgot, the Hindus have an amount of time.
It's 100 and something.
It's 150 something activation, meditation periods.
So you wear it for half a year.
And then bang, now it's activated. Now it has that energetic frequency. And the thing that's beautiful about activating your jewelry is that when you're not in the mood, right, the jewelry now has that frequency. It owns that frequency.
Yeah.
So when you're having a downer,
so you're sad,
you put it on and it buzzes you up.
So you're not feeling loved. You might feel a bit down and something may have happened.
Exactly.
You may have lost a friend or something like that.
And so maybe you're going to want the heart one, right? So the green stones. And
what are emeralds? Is that
emeralds?
Emeralds,
Yes,
the
your
big
stone.
one,
That's
the
the
big,
beautiful emerald.
beautiful.
They bought a beautiful emerald from us that his wife.
Amazing. Yes. So that's all about love.
Yes,
that's all about the heart.
That's the great.
So it was a perfect invention.
And so so when you think of activating your jewelry in this manner, you know, it becomes an heirloom. You know, it becomes, you know, the piece of jewelry is no more just a trinket of metals and stones. Now it's something sacred, and this is really what we're about. This is what Evoker is about. It's about evoking the goddess within.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And so all of that, the tribe of 8, we're calling them the tribe of 8. they each have a name. So there's Cora, Freya, Shamana, right? They all have names. And so, you know, even my daughter, right? I've got a 7-year-old daughter. She is getting into it. She is now talking about the girls as like her friends. And she's like, oh, I need a bit of armor today, you know, because armor's the goddess of love. And so she talks about it like that. And so when you think that a 7-year-old can quickly grasp the knowledge, it's such a beautiful way to impart. You know?
Nice, I love it. So
I'm a bit passionate.
So yeah, well, that's why I wanted to get you on, because you are so passionate. And so for people who you know, want to look at this sort of stuff, and I mean that you have a beautiful range, and you've got collections, aren't you?
Yes.
So bangles, rings, necklaces,
we do it all
for certain occasions and certain events. So if you say, we'll do an example. You're going to go into your a job interview.
Yes.
You know, and you're
job
wanting
interview,
to wear
you're
stuff.
Wanting power,
Which
right? So
is
yellow.
Yellows.
So it's yellow golden colors. And so in our range, we call her Reina, because she's the queen, because it's like, hello, you're the power bitch, right? And you know, we're trying to not make it so esoteric and trying to give it some fun. You know, and so
you want to wear some yellow jewelry.
Yes,
and stuff like,
so you
probably
wear
a little
the
bit of
power
light blue
pendant,
as well to be able to talk freely.
Yeah,
Would that be as well?
yes, depending on where it all actually depends on your personal alignment.
What you need.
And that's what we're doing next. We're going to start doing phone calls with people where, so for example, in like 30 minutes, I could figure out exactly what's deficient and what's excessive in your energy centers. They all need to be balanced. And so we go through each one and we figure out, okay, deficient, excessive, balance, deficient, right? And then from what you're personally needing, then when you're going to that job interview, everyone will be different. Some person would need power, some person would need more expression, some person would need to be more playful, right? So it depends on your own person. We're all individual, and we all have our own energetic frequency that is like, it's like a tune fork. You know, if you know, ding, that vibration, that sound, that color is inherent in all of us. And so, and it's very different for all of us. So it's about figuring out your own vibration and then seeing which stone, which talisman would work best for you.
Okay, I love that. And so I get that, you know, there's some things, I mean, we've got some great advice today, which has been absolutely fantastic. Around mixing you can mix them as well.
Totally.
You don't just have to go for one.
Totally.
You know,
my wife loves the multicolored ranges because that's talking about being the goddess. And so it's about balancing them all, right? Okay. So we've got a goddess range which is multicolored. So, you know, it just depends where you're at. Depends what you're into. And it's not like you're at here and you're like, oh, and that's going to be it. Do you know, we've been doing this for so many years now, and there's moments where you fall back. And there's moments where you know, go forward. And so this is the dance. The dance of life is always, you know, it's a pendulum swinging. And so you're just going to keep going with that pendulum, being cool with what is, and, you know.
Nice. I love it. Fantastic. Well, Claudio, it's been amazing to have a good chat to you in your beautiful home. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming.
And, you know, I hope everyone's got a lot out of it. You know, from the little red string, I love that story, to intentionalizing wearing jewelry to empower you and get you into where you want to be in life. In any situation, it's magic. So thank you and combining what your passion is in jewelry and your passion in spirituality. You know, over this time when we've been in lockdown, you've just steamed ahead, haven't you?
And now it's all coming together. It's funny. It's happened during this lockdown. It's when we had the time and energy to do it. So just amazing.
So good. I think we just lost you there for a sec. He's back again. So I just want to sign off on a couple of things, 2 things, my usual 2 questions. One is, what's something that people don't know much about you?
Well, actually, nobody knows that I'm that I've written a book.
Now they inclined.
That's not the kind of topic you talk to me. You know, I'm a blokey bloke. You know.
Good. Okay, that's really good. Thank you. And how do people contact you? My last question.
Well, Evoker Sydney. Evoker Sydney. Get online. Go to my Instagram, Facebook.
We've got links below. It's all there. If you've got any questions for him or his wife around gemology, what to use in certain situations.
And Instagram, we're doing a really awesome thing where weekly we're doing different chakras. So we're getting into it weekly, and we're getting into more depth as you go along.
Great. So there's a lot of education there that you can go a lot further. Is it Evoker Sydney in all one word?
One word. EVOKA Sydney.
Nice. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Stay online. we'll just shut down on Instagram. Thanks, guys. Good to have you on.